welcome back to the channel. And today I'd like to talk to you about a special fantasy series, and that is Malazan Book of the Fallen, a 10-book series by Steven Erikson. And I will focus solely on these books, really. I did read the book Knight of Knives, and there are many books you can read parallel or before or after the series to get more context for what happens in this book series. There are plenty of forums you can go to find out if and when you want to introduce those books to your own reading experience. I'm not going to touch on that here. I'm just going to focus on my thoughts and feelings of those 10 books, Malazan Book of the Fallen. Now, let's get this, let's get the elephant out into the open. Let's get it into the middle of the room and have a little look at it. And that is the fact that this series is incredibly long. So there's more than 10,000 pages to be read here. We'll be talking about 3 million words, something like that. It will take time to read. If you're a fast reader, congratulations. Maybe you can bang this out back to back and enjoy this within the space of a year. For me, I read this over about a year and a half, including Knight of Knives in there as well. But yeah, it is a series I would say to take your time over. And a lot of people talk about the difficulty of reading this series. Now, I don't think the language is necessarily difficult. I think this is a series that purposely does not hold your hand. It wants you to learn through osmosis. It wants you to live in the world and be around the characters and learn gradually about the cultures, the landscape, the places, the magic systems, and the lands in which you're going to be inhabiting for these 3 million words. And I think if you take your time and you try to learn all of this through osmosis, if you take your time to live and breathe the world, these things will come naturally to you. It may be after 2 or 3 books, it may be after 5 or 6 books, but this stuff will fall into place, and it will in turn make stuff you've read previously in previous books make sense along the way. If you take your time and if you don't leave too long between each book, maybe you can read a book or 2, different genres to kind of mix things up along the way, but don't leave 3 months, 6 months between volumes. Keep them coming at a regular rate in which you know yourself, your own retention of information. I know myself personally, certain series I want to read 1 every 6 months, 1 every year, or maybe 1 every 3 months, or even less, depending on my ability to hold those characters and places and things in my head. I found that reading a Malazan book every kind of 2nd or 3rd or 4th book that I was reading kept it regular enough so that I wasn't losing information. To keep it all perfectly is impossible. Don't try to do that. Don't beat yourself up about it. It is a series that probably needs rereading. In a lot of ways, it's a more alien version of Tolkien's works, where there is so much there. Because this is a series based on a role-playing game made by 2 men that's been developed over probably decades. So there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of background that cannot be put onto the page, and it can't be necessarily experienced on one read. It's one of those, I would call it like a rabbit hole series, similar to Middle-earth, similar to George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire, in that fans of a rabbit hole series are going to pick at it, they're going to study it, they're going to get in between it in a way where, oh, that one paragraph means so much more. That one paragraph, that really, reflects back to this piece that I read over here in this other book. And, I want to follow, this one character. So I'm going to take chapters and I'm going to take paragraphs from different books in different series. I'm going to piece them together and I'm going to read the running narrative of one character, because it's a patchwork. Characters are weaving in amongst each other in the same way that the kind of gods do. The lands, the time and space, the warrens, the magic systems, everything is kind of like interwoven in Malazan Book of the Fallen. And it's kind of a job to pick it all apart. And it will be picked apart for you by Steven Erikson, and the bits that he needs you to know for the climaxes, for the final books in the series, for the endings to the characters, he will give to you. Sometimes he will obscure things completely and then just decide randomly, just pull the curtain back and let you see it anyway. The Wizard of Oz, there he is. And the whole time you're like, oh, okay, so that is what I thought, that fan theory I had, that actually is that. And it was actually explained to me quite easily by the end. So that will happen as well, but it won't happen for everything, because I think Steven Erikson wants to hold a little bit back. You won't get everything you want from this series. You just have to give up now. You're not going to see the tightly bound package for every character at the end of this series. There's going to be some characters left completely open. There'll be some characters that are absolutely monumental 1 minute, completely unrelated to the story the next. There's going to be characters that you think, this is a small part character, has nothing to do with the story. Next bit, it's your favourite character and they're dead. This is the way of Malazan Book of the Fallen. So you're not going to get everything out of it. You are not necessarily going to enjoy the writing style at all times. I think it is a series where Steven Erikson's writing has developed over time. I think the quality of the writing by the second half of the series is better than the first half of the series, but it started pretty high anyway. So yeah, it's not perfect. Do you know what it is? It's incredibly ambitious, and it's the merit of the ambition and of the hidden depth and just the temerity of the man Steven Erikson to even aim to try and do what he pulled off is the thing that really just, it's outstanding just to think of it. It takes a lot to get your head around it. Once you've finished it, you just have to kind of have a little chuckle to yourself and say, bravo, well done. I can't believe you even attempted it and managed to pull so much of it off. It's not a perfect series. It's flawed. It's a flawed masterpiece, and I would give it 4.3 out of 5.